This episode is sponsored by JMR Rentals, professional digital cinema and broadcast rentals in Brooklyn, New York. To find out more, visit their website, jmrny.com. Hello and welcome to No Rest for the Weekend, where we go behind the scenes and talk to the creators of independent entertainment. I'm Jason Godbey, and joining me via Zoom today, she is an accomplished actor and filmmaker. Her latest project is called Girl Boxer, Miss Lauren McCann. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here, or thanks for being there.
We're here together.
Yes, nobody's here anymore.
Right.
But anyway, I'm glad to have you on the show. We talked for a little bit about doing this, and you've had some great things come up, so I want to talk about those, talk about your projects, Girl Boxer being one of them, and then I know you have a feature that you just completed. But first, I want to talk to you about you. As I do with all my guests. So how did you get into this mess of show business?
Which mess? Let's start with that.
That's for the career. How did you get into acting and directing? What is your origin story?
Yeah, well, so I'm from Canada originally, and I was an actor in Canada for a while, and I had quite a few teachers say, "What are you doing here? Leave, go to New York. Montreal is not going to hold you." And at the time I was studying to be a teacher, and I had a year left at school, and I thought, I'm just gonna finish my year before I take any big jumps and move to New York City kind of thing. And while I was doing my teaching, I was told by somebody that I could never be a teacher because I'm very dyslexic. And I just said, you know what, I'm just traveling for a second. I need to take a break, step away from this. Went to Europe on my own with a backpack, met this amazing guy who is now my husband. So with that, I went back home, finished my teaching degree, moved to Europe, left the whole acting thing. And with a teaching degree, I was allowed to live with him in Europe, teach over there. And so he's from Poland. So I lived in Poland. We later moved to France. We moved back to Montreal, where I was just a teacher at that time, but always had this sort of inkling to bring the arts into my classroom. I taught early childhood education, mostly kindergarten. Went as far as to get my PhD in teaching, and my whole focus was on how to use arts to bring early literacy into the classroom. We moved to Arizona, where my husband was transferred, and that gave us an opportunity to get to New York. And so I found myself in New York, and a girlfriend who is also a Montrealer, who I was in acting classes and things with her in Canada, was an actor in New York. And she said, well, isn't the world funny? Isn't this what you wanted to do? And isn't this the place that you wanted to be? Why don't you just start at it again? And I did. And I mean, it went pretty quickly. I was able to get a green card. I ended up getting an agent in a day, which kind of made me a little surprised, but they're very legit. Ended up getting an unbelievable LA manager who I have no credits yet, but I have been up for some huge roles. One of them had me potentially waking up next to Patrick Dempsey, which would have been really fun. My husband was okay with it because it was network, it wasn't cable. So we'll see. I mean, I'm just waiting for the right thing to come along, and I really believe it's a question of time and project. So as far as directing goes, I was in this position as an actor. You could sort of see my past. I'm a teacher. I have 2 children. I am a soft, mushy, just loving person. At least I like to think of myself that way. But I've been told when I walk into a casting room, I will never get cast as a soccer mom, even though I might be a soccer mom. And I've learned now how to play the angles of my face. I know I'm very angular. And even if I turn, I start to get these just edges in me. And with that, I'm more apt to be cast as a spy, as an assassin. And just recently, this feature that I just finished, I played the devil. So how would I bring together my two realities? This idea of being this loving, caring, nurturing mother, woman, but also be an assassin. And the answer is it's always through love. If I'm going to kill somebody, I would do it really because somebody was maybe going to mess with my family. So I decided to write a character that had these two dualities. I think so many women do have those dualities where you could be an absolute nurturing person, but then on a turn of a dime, ready to just like snap somebody's neck because they're messing with your child. I wanted to write something that would fit me, but then also the aesthetic that I just love. I love dark movies. I love old mob movies. I was 7 years old when I sat down with my dad and watched Rocky. I love fighting movies. Snatch, I don't know if you watched Girl Boxer, is a huge influence on me. Just Guy Ritchie, the way he edits things, like just quick, and having more of a cerebral story where you really do have to pay attention to what's going on. It's not feeding you junk all the time. You have to be aware and think and follow story. So I wanted to see a female character that had that duality, but also was in that kind of movie. So I made it myself.
Girl Boxer, you put this together last year.
Yeah.
It's currently on the festival circuit. You made it into Series Fest.
Yeah.
So kind of talked about the inspiration of it, but how did it kind of physically come about? How are you able to like put it together? Did you produce this yourself? Did you get a producer? How were you able to kind of manifest this into being?
I am a real type A person. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it well. And I've also learned in my older age, why would I try to do things that I don't know how to do if people already know how to do them? So you need to surround yourself with people that know more than you and who are willing to teach you along the way. And we spoke about Ilaria, and I knew she had made a film, and I knew I liked her as a person, and I wanted good people. So I said, Ilaria, who do you know? And she gave me a whole list of people. Phil Newsome, who was on your show, he was a producer, and I sat down with him, and I remember him looking through the script, and he said, this is really ambitious. I know, but I know I can do it. And then through him and through more contacts from Ilaria, I met Dom Savilli, who's the DP. Magic, I call him my magician. And again, like just a good person. So my actors too, I chose everybody very specifically. Not only did they fit the character that I wanted them to play, but they were good people. And with that, I didn't have as many issues on set as maybe a first-time director would. Everybody was ready to work with me, work together, and was really there for the project, not necessarily for themselves.
So just to give people some background, you kind of described the film a little bit, but give us like the log line, give us like the Hollywood log line of what the picture is.
Yeah, well, it really is a proof of concept. It's in Series Fest because it is written out to be 8 episodes long. And then I've even mapped out 3 seasons. So the whole idea is that you have this girl boxer. It's a single mother. Her husband's in jail. And she is lured into the Irish mob into a bare knuckle boxing fight. And as this goes on, she has to really question how far into the dark side she is willing to go for the love of her family.
You put this together and just kind of give an idea of the production, and because it's, how long is it? It's about 20
minutes.
20 minutes long.
20 minutes, yeah.
And how long did it kind of take you to put that together? How many shooting days and stuff like that?
We did 4 days. And like I said, it just went so smoothly, but I think it's because we did so much work before. We had a little bump.
Did you guys rehearse before?
Nope, we didn't. I had real full confidence in the people I was with. We had a script reading all together. I put on a pot of Irish stew. We made some soda bread and literally just came together to just feel everybody. And after that, I could just see it was going to work. We had a big bump in that we lost our pub location. So we had 4 days. We had interior apartments. I'm very friendly with a lot of people in my building, and they opened their doors for me, which was great. So I had a lot of different apartment settings. We had a jail setting. New York, renting a jail, forget about it, thousands of dollars. But you got to think outside the box. You know, I have a downstairs dingy laundry room in my apartment. People have laundry duty in jail, right? steamed it up, filmed at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30. We were in and out, all good. There was our jail. We lost our pub. We had something booked in Harlem, and the whole shooting schedule was fit. We had things rented, we had crew available, and literally week and a half before, they just said, look, we're closing our doors and we are shutting forever. So I strapped the baby to my back, brought my daughter, my husband, and we went to Woodside, Queens, and we started knocking on doors. And I'm really a believer in just feeling people's energy and talking to them and getting to know like the story. And we needed to close a pub on a Friday. 3 out of 4 places that I went to agreed to work with me. And it ended up being better because literally this guy just gave us his keys and like, don't burn the place down. So we filmed another day at a pub, and then our final day, so 2 days apartment, 1 day at the pub, and 1 day at the boxing ring. And that too was a question of, where are you going to find a boxing ring, a boxing gym that's going to close for you? We found the Women's World of Boxing in East Harlem. It wasn't ideal. It wasn't what I had envisioned, because the ring itself is flush up against the wall so that you can't go around it. But after meeting Reese, who's the owner, and they just have such an amazing program, we wanted to work with them. We wanted to be in the city where people could come. We needed extras. We had a place in Newark that we were possibly talking to, but trying to get like 50 extras to Newark, it would have just been easier to be in the city. So we stuck there, and they were great. They worked with us and let us do what we wanted to do as well. So it was all overall very positive.
I think one of the hardest things I mean, especially in New York. Now, I know we have listeners and people who watch the show who are not in New York. So for those of you who are not in New York, space is like, I used to say, they don't rent space so much as they hold it for ransom here. It's like, it's so crazy expensive, and to get anything to film in, you might want, I've literally walked into places and sort of like unassumingly asked, hey, if I wanted to shoot something here, and you think they'll be like, oh, let me think about it, or and then they're like, yeah, for holding we charge this much money, you
Oh
need
yeah.
production insurance, and you're like, oh my god, they've obviously been approached before.
Well, there was one pub we were talking with, and they just kept saying, oh, well, just wait, just wait, just wait, because the Irishman was filming. And the Irishman, they were talking to this pub to possibly film there. So it was a question of, who are we going to work with? In the end, I'm like, dude, I can't wait any longer. So thanks. But no
that
thanks.
that happened to so we had a chap called Shawnee Shagru on the show. He made a film called Misty Button, and I think, if I'm recalling the story right, the bar that he was supposed to shoot, I think it like burnt down or something, but he was supposed to shoot somewhere, and it was the Irishman that was looking at shooting there. That's another fun thing that happens to people in the city. Like, if a big production's in town, sometimes you can't get equipment because they've rented all the equipment. Sometimes you can't get a space because they're looking at the same space as you
Yeah.
are. And you realize just how small New York becomes, in terms of locations. But, it looks like you're able to overcome those challenges. And I think you were smart in saying, let's do a 20-minute proof of concept.
Yeah.
Instead of let me try to shoot 8 episodes or something. Which usually, first time filmmakers, they're very ambitious and they're like, oh, I'm going to shoot this, feature film, and try to get, 2 hours. And, next thing you know, they're in, they're in with a loan shark, or like all their friends
Totally.
hate them at the
Oh,
end of the
I've
picture.
been in situations where I've been on projects like that.
Yeah, and they're no fun. Did the acting part of it, like in terms of like going into the director's chair, did the acting sort of inform that, or was it completely sort of alien to you? Like, how were you able to kind of go back and forth and be in front of the camera and behind the camera?
Acting wise, because I wrote this script, I was just living it all the time. So it was already in my body. And then just to be able to switch off, I guess, and look from the other side, it wasn't that hard, because in my own life, I don't walk around as this character who's going to start bare knuckle boxing for, big money, but I was with them all the time. So I didn't find it difficult at all just to to switch on and off. I'm a mom. Like, I'm multitasking all the time. I will be literally like doing something, I don't know, but then in half an hour, I have, something that I have to audition for, and I slick back my hair and I become somebody totally different. So it's something probably that I've learned to do very quickly over the years.
Did you read any books or anything like that, or to get prepared? Was there any like did you seek out any counsel or anything like that?
Actually, I did very, very much so. I had a Northern Irish attaché because we were dealing with Northern Ireland, and there's a lot of political things going there. But even simply just the wording, I was using the word. Gosh, I can't even remember the real word now. I mean, you would say peelers in Northern Irish to refer to as the cops, but I was using more of the Southern Irish word. I don't even remember that one anymore. But my friend was like, "Oh no, that's not right. Like, they're the peelers." Like, great, thank you, because I want to be as authentic as I possibly can.
Right. Did you know anybody that was from there? Is that why you chose that particular region?
I myself, like, I come from a very Irish family. I'm a McCann. My aunt is in charge of the St. Patrick's Day in my city. I did Irish dancing for years. It's just kind of the community that I grew up in. And just that pub culture has always been there. Like, I know a few people that, they're good to be friends with, but you maybe don't want to be friends with them.
So there was like some experience there that you could draw from.
Sure.
So that's great. So for that project, and then we'll kind of move on to other things. But for that project, what's the trajectory for it, or what are your hopes for it?
My biggest, most amazing dream would be that, come Series Fest, maybe somebody really looks at it and I start some serious talks. The ultimate dream would be someone just gives me like millions of dollars and I could do all 8 episodes myself. That would be great. And I've changed it to be a half hour to be 1 hour, knowing now that a drama like this, if you're going to take the time and really get cinematic and do those pans over the bar, you can't have that in a half hour. You need to take the time. So the proof of concept has been stretched out to be an hour long to get more into the characters and more into the story. That would be like the biggest dream. But in real life, even just meeting the right people and then having them seriously look at this project, and I'd love to see it on, a streaming network somewhere. I think it's a story that a lot of people could enjoy, maybe not relate to, but it's something that I think would cross the boundaries between men and women to enjoy it.
I think for something like that, especially since it's your first time out, hopefully at the very least it'll be some kind of a calling card for you.
Yeah.
That will open some other doors, either acting or directing or writing or something. I said, hey, this person can put a movie together, put a project together, and you do have good people around you, so that's helpful in saying, because a lot of times, even if you're a writer, like and you're developing stuff, like I have a writing partner that I develop with. And even people say, "Hey, what have you done? Have you made anything? Can you show us a short film? Can you show us?" Because they don't know who the hell you are, and they want to make sure that you can do something. And this is good. It's a good piece of work. It looks really good. It's well acted. I liked everything in it. The only thing I wanted was more of it. Because
I was very fortunate. So with the script, I don't know if you know the Oaxaca Film Festival. I was asked to pitch to Viacom. Viacom actually contacted me, and I was given an opportunity to meet the VP of Programming for the Americas. And it was just exactly that. It was being new to this and realizing that maybe it's something that I could do. Like, there are people that would want to give a platform. So I've discovered writing, and I really do like it.
I think, no matter what you do, it's good to be multifaceted. I don't know. There's not many people, unless you're, even if you are a movie star or something, they all have production companies. They're all developing projects. So you can't just be anything anymore. I don't think, I do 50 different things. All my friends do 50 different things. And I'm running into more people on the acting side that start to write or produce or develop their own projects, because you simply can't wait for someone to cast you,
Oh, and it gives you a whole new level, as an actor going to different festivals and things. Oh, you're a director. You're not that desperate actor. Put me in your movie. No, you know what? Let's talk, because I've been to the trenches, and I get it. And
you get a lot more street cred that way, I
totally.
think,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I want to move on to your next project, and then hopefully we can move on to the next set of questions if we have time. But so tell me a little bit about this feature. You said that you play the devil in it.
Did
You're such a
now
nice
that
lady.
I know, now that you've met me a little bit, I was the devil. So in going with this whole idea that I am playing with absolute power, that is what I've sort of learned, is just as an actor, the art of stillness. And I've been told by some people, if I just sit and be still, they can feel that something dangerous is going to happen. It's something that I have to turn on. It's not something that I would do talking with you right now. So with that, I started realizing there just aren't many roles for women that call for that absolute power, like that, the power that I don't even have to do that because you're going to do it for me. And I was just going through, I was going to cancel my Backstage subscription. I had used it to try to find my Russian fighter for Girl Boxer. It didn't end up working out. It ended up much better for me finding Nora. But before I was canceling, I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to do a feature. I'm going to be in a lead. And started looking through men's roles, because those are the roles that are calling for that power. And I came across this script, and it was for the devil. I read it, and I thought, you know what? Where does it ever say that the devil is a man? And I wrote to the director. I said, look, if you're willing to just think outside the box, I'd love to read this. And he said, yeah, great, do it. Did it. He called me, he said, I can't see it any other way. Like, you are my devil. And there we go. I spent maybe 2 weeks in and out of Baltimore filming that.
What is the name of the project?
It's called The Mantle.
The Mantle.
So it's still being worked on.
Okay.
But
it's in post-production now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But just an experience of working on a feature, which I'd never done before too, and getting to travel outside of New York to film was great.
Very cool. So, we'll have to have you back when that comes out. Hopefully, with things the way they are, hopefully it will come out at some point soon.
Yeah.
We're still in the uncharted waters right now. So I'm going to wrap up shortly, but before I do that, we've done this a couple of times on the show before, and I thought I would do it with you if you would be a willing subject.
Always.
So earlier this year, unfortunately, the great James Lipton passed away. The man behind Inside the Actor Studio. I did that for many years and interviewed some of the greatest actors in film and television. And so I wanted to carry on his tradition of doing the Bernard Pivot questionnaire that he would do at the end of the show, which I'm sure every actor out there has memorized. So I would do it with my acting guests and maybe some directors. But I just thought I would do it to honor him. And also, since he stole it from Pivot, I figured I might as well return the favor and steal it from him and carry on the tradition. So without further ado, Lauren, what is your favorite word?
Mommy. It's a favorite word, but it could also be my most hated word.
Well, that's the next word. What is your least favorite word?
Hate.
What sound or noise do you love?
Giggles.
What is it?
Giggles.
Giggles. Okay.
Like just pure giggles of joy.
What sound or noise do you hate? For people who didn't pick that up,
it even just got like the dry smacking of lips. It just makes me cringe.
I have to deal with that a lot for when I edit interviews. I try to cut as much of that out as possible. So what turns you on creatively? What gets your juices going?
Just kindness. Like I think I get my own juices going, but then when I meet the people that can future that,
kind collaboration.
Yeah.
And what turns you off?
When people hurt for the purpose of hurting.
And what is your favorite curse word?
Shit.
Is that a frequent one for you around the house?
Yes, with a 2-year-old, it's a very freaking word. Used in more ways than one.
It's more of a job title than a curse word in that circumstance. All right, and finally, if heaven exists, what would you want to hear God say when you enter the pearly gates?
Thank you for something.
Thank
Something
you for,
hopefully I did that would merit God saying thank you to me.
Thank you for not being a terrible person.
Yeah.
Thank you for not actually being the devil.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap up, but this was great. We'll have to have you back and keep us updated on what's happening with the various projects. And good luck with everything. It sounds like
Thank
you're
you so
doing
much.
good stuff, and may we all get through this thing together.
We will.
All right. Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much.
Jason. Bye.
And that's all we have time for today. Thanks so much for taking this trip down the rabbit hole. For more of our content, including our movie reviews, visit our website, norestfortheweekendpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. I'd like to thank our sponsor, JMR Rentals. For more on them, visit their website, jmrny.com. And once again, I'd like to thank my guest, Lauren McCann. For Behind the Rabbit Productions, I'm Jason Godbey. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.